good mem.
Hello,
Hola.
and welcome to episode 16 of the Musically Challenged podcast.
Yup. We're back.
It's 2017,
Yup.
and we've lost somebody. Sam has decided, for whatever reason,
Rip, you idiot.
in just in time for exam season,
He doesn't want to live.
He doesn't want to come back to uni.
Doesn't want to grace us with his presence.
No, so it's just Mike and I this week.
He's keeping his presence to himself. Christmas.
Fingers crossed we'll be able to do him justice. And ourselves, but...
I'm not sure whether it's for the best.
No,
to do him
me neither.
justice, but we'll see how the podcast plays out.
We'll see.
Without our third wheel. It's a good start.
Yeah, great start.
Episode.
So, Mike. It's been a while since we properly did some recording.
Yes,
so
we both recorded the last 4 episodes.
And we would like to wholeheartedly apologise for anything we said during those last 4 episodes that was out of order.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm pretty sure each of us have...
There's no excuse for what we said, but we were very drunk and very, very, very tired.
We were drunk, but we were still in control of what we were saying.
Well, now we've got no excuse.
Now we've got no excuse, but...
Cuck. We've got no excuse.
I don't fucking care. It's out there now. Anyway.
We humbly apologise either way.
Yeah. We're sorry if you got triggered by anything we said.
Full blown triggered.
Anyway.
Yes.
What's been on the spin?
On the rotor. The spin of my rotor, as I've said previously.
Yes. You have.
As we've had our 3 odd week break over Christmas, I actually have not listened to super loads of stuff. For it is exam season for us, like you said.
Which means we're doing lots of revision.
I would usually revise with music on, but the problem is, it's a different kind of work. If I had like loads of exam papers to try and do, I'd put music on, listen to get through some good stuff. But nope. Turns out our modules from maths have said, nope, you're not getting no past papers.
You've got to memorise all these theorems and the proofs and shit, and algebra is disgusting as usual.
You can't memorise those things when girl band are shouting, "Why do you hide the bodies under my garage?" into your ear. But the things I have been listening to are a single, not single, well, it was on one of their EPs.
Yeah.
A cover, in fact, by girl band called
Why They Hide Their Bodies
Under My Garage.
So it's a cover of the original songs by this guy called Blawan, I want to say his name's pronounced.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
He's from Yorkshire.
Oh,
and the original song was from 2012. It's kind of a weird industrial techno. It's like really, really
Yorkshire techno.
It's really, really what's the word I'm looking for? It's so infectious.
Yeah, it is.
But it's really quite a simple, stupid, basic song. I still love it.
So, I haven't listened to the original, but you've said the original...
So the original doesn't build in the way that the girl band version does, because girl band
I feel like that'd be a missing element
being the noisy and punky and angry band that they take it to a whole new level with guitar noise and really, really distorted bass.
I enjoy all of those things, and the vocal performance, which ramps up. It's like getting crazier and crazier and more insane. And the music video is good as well.
Oh, the music video is hilarious. You need to go watch that.
Yeah, recommendation to watch that. It's a guy performing an autopsy, eating a sandwich and dancing with a body.
With a dead body.
With a dead body.
Shit happens.
Is golden. So that's one of the singles I've been listening to. It's a single song. Not a single per se, but
no.
Been listening to that.
Just the one song.
Other than that, I've been on the usual rotor of Radiohead and Animal Collective every so often, because you got to do that. I have to do that.
Fucking hipster.
Me hipster, my ladies, my hipsters. But yeah, aside from this, new music I've been listening to. David Bowie came out with an EP.
He did. No Plan.
No Plan. Yes, this is 1 year on from his previous release, which was 2 days before his death last year.
Black Star.
Yeah. So this is a sort of traditional EP sense where it's continued material from the album.
Bit, yeah. So
it's written around the same sorts of times. It's got a very similar feel. Many of the songs, and it's just great. It's a solid EP. You know, it sort of surrounds the Lazarus song.
Yeah, because
like
Lazarus is the first song, and then there's three extras. There's No Plan.
So that's Lazarus off his Black Star album, and then it's surrounded with No Plan, which is promoted as the sort of single of this one. And then
Killing a Little Time, is that what it's called?
Yeah, I'll double check.
Killing
a Little Time, and then When I Met You.
Yeah,
they're the 4 tracks, and oh boy, it's good. It's a roller coaster. It's a ride. You know, you're probably familiar with Lazarus if you know Black Star, but you know, No Plan is excellent. It's like an excellent continuation of. It's like a really good statement for this time a year on. I think. And certainly. The music video is very well done for it as well.
I haven't seen the music video yet.
It's so a bunch of TVs, a bunch of people.
Don't spoil it. Right.
I'll say no more. And then Killing a Little Time, 3rd track. That's a shocker. That's a surprise. That one. That is some heavy rock coming in with guitars.
Much heavier than.
And that really threw me off. Yeah, it's much heavier than things from Black Star were, and it's interesting. So I've been enjoying that.
Good.
Those are my things.
Your things.
Julian, you've had 3 weeks to digest lots of music.
Lots and lots of music.
Good job, we've got a decade. Tell us what you've been listening to.
I think my new favourite electronic producing duo.
Yes. There's many of them.
They're called The Orb. They're from London. They were really at the peak of their creative powers in the early 90s. And they were taking house music and stretching it out into really long, winding, kind of ambient soundscapes almost.
Ambient.
They were breaking down all the different elements of a dance song, of a early 90s house song, and really stretching it all out.
Brick by brick.
Brick
They're
by
breaking down
brick.
the house.
And God, they have made some of the most mind-altering electronic music I've ever heard.
You played me some today.
I played you a bit.
Quite interesting.
You need to listen. So, Adventures Beyond the Ultra World, the double album, which I just bought the CD off of Discogs yesterday and it already arrived this morning. Blimey. Shout out to whoever it was I bought it off. So yeah, it's a 2-hour double album, which is like the trippiest thing I've ever listened to, and I don't know if it's changed my life yet, but like. In the way that Skinny Fist did when I listened to it.
The way you told me the way you explained was you're not sure whether they're on par with Boards of Canada or not, or surpassed.
I think they've surpassed Boards of Canada, honestly.
Wow.
I really do.
And Boards of Canada,
I love my Boards of Canada. Big old change.
Yeah,
no, in terms of mind-altering stuff, The Orb, so Adventures Beyond the Ultra World, and also the album that they released after that one called UF Orb, continuing the sci-fi theme that runs throughout their music.
Yeah.
Absolute must listen if you like electronic music.
Yes.
Another kind of electronic guy I've been listening to is this Canadian guy called Venetian Snares.
Ooh.
He there's an album he released in 2005 called I'm gonna attempt to pronounce this because it is Hungarian.
Go for it.
Ros Silag Alat Sületet. Which means
right.
born under a bad star, which is
why
apparently
is it Hungarian when he's Canadian?
So he's combining Hungarian folk music, classical music that is very much influenced by the Hungarian composer Béla Bartók, who apparently decided at the time that classical music had too much tonality in it, and he wanted to make it sound really dissonant.
Is that because he had a left Bartók and a right Bartók?
It could have been.
Yep.
And then he mixes Venetian Snares. He mixes all that with his favourite, really, really fast-paced, crazy drum-sequenced IDM, which is referred to as one of my new favourite genre names, drill and bass. So it's like drum and bass, but drill and bass. It's just drum and bass music. It's just ridiculously fast and really kind of grating.
Yeah.
It's not a mix that you'd think would work, but it works.
So it's drill and bass and classical music.
Drill and bass and classical music and Hungarian folk music. It's mental. It's absolutely mental.
That's
jeez. Couple more quick shout-outs.
Jesus Christ.
Burial. Everyone's favourite, completely anonymous South London future garage producer.
Yeah. People have theorised that he's Fortet.
Really?
People have theorised that. They don't know.
Well, you know his name.
I know Fortet's name, Kieran Hepton.
Well, Burial's name is William Bevan, so
okay.
That's that out the window. So Burial released an EP in 2012 called Kindred, which I'm obviously in love with right now because it's some of the best kind of electronic soundscapey thing I've ever listened to.
It was very excellent.
And I finally want to give a shout out to
a
band that I never thought I'd grow to like this kind of music.
Who this?
Because they're a band called Caro Caro Bonito from London.
It's a hell of a name.
It is a hell of a name. They make pop music, and they're very much influenced by video game music and
cool.
J-pop. And
like Justice. You talk about the J-pop.
It's just like really fun, like unbelievably saccharine pop music, which is just really hard not to smile at when you hear it. And they take it to such an extreme that it almost feels like they're taking the piss out of like really overproduced pop music.
Okay.
And the lyrics are like about non-mainstream pop like subject matter.
It's quite satirical. Right?
It is satirical. Like I'll definitely play you some at some point. But
I can enjoy that.
It's the most mainstream sounding stuff I listen to, I think.
Really?
I think. You'll know when you hear it. But
I find it hard to judge what is mainstream and what's not.
Yeah, me too, a little bit.
Because we just we don't live in that world.
My rule is that if I listen to it, it's probably not mainstream.
Yeah.
But
sometimes it randomly is, and you're like, what?
You could call Pink Floyd mainstream.
True.
Dark Side of the Moon sold 50 million copies.
I know. Well, I was gonna say
second best-selling album ever.
That's like a cornerstone of like culture, though.
I read somewhere that 1 in 4 households in America own a copy of Dark Side of the Moon.
Sick.
That's ridiculous.
That's really cool. I like that.
That's mental. Anyway, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but
makes me happy.
We're done with this long ass intro, so let's get on to the meat and bones of this episode.
Let's make a transition from
you want to introduce this one?
Satirical themes you were mentioning earlier
to some very, very serious music, right?
Serious. Well, it's LCD Soundsystem.
James Murphy and Co.
And their 2007 album Sound of Silver.
I love how you leant over to check your iPad.
I couldn't remember the day. I can't remember the flipping day. I know it is their second album.
So Sound of Silver.
Sound of Silver. Officially classified as dance punk. I think it's quite hard to classify. I find it quite hard to classify LCD Soundsystem.
I do as well.
They have a very unique thing going on. Like I know, so their original album, which was I believe self-titled. Like their first track on one of their singles was called Daft Punk's Playing at My House.
Right.
Playing at my house, like that.
Yeah.
And it's like a very satirical take on like the music industry and like this sort of, it's like dance IDM sort of thing, but it's got, James Murphy's got this very punk attitude, just sort of very sarcastic punk attitude. And that sort of came through on the first album, and that was a very strong album. But the two that were to follow are sort of on another level of like both like production excellence and like songwriting prowess, I suppose you could say. So this is why like these next two albums, Sound of Silver, their second one, and This Is Happening, their most recent one from 2010, I believe. Yeah. They haven't released an album since, but.
We're waiting.
We're hoping they do this year because they've reunited. So we hope 2017 will land us another one. But yeah, so as I was saying, Sound of Silver, just an excellent standard of like improving what they had in their first album, and bringing through all these satirical themes and like excellent songwriting.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to say in that this album is only. A certain few albums, I think I can say this for that I actually like, is that I like how repetitive the album is.
Yes.
Because it like the whole thing where a lot of the bass lines throughout all the tracks on the song, and a lot of the drumming is very, very samey. But like you say, it's very much influenced by dance music, and how it's meant to be like a hypnotic groove that's meant to.
It's a satirical take on that.
It is kind of
like the repetitive is part of the point. Like a lot of the songs are quite long.
Yeah, like they're stretched to 7-8 minutes. Yeah,
7-8 minutes, and that's like most of the songs on the album. And they sort of, I see them. They like sort of like build themselves these songs. So
they do change up.
There's a layer, and then it's like that layer will like continue through pretty much most of the song, and then they'll like add something. They'll throw something in that goes with it well, and it will, the song will change. It won't feel like a 7-minute song. very often it does.
No, my favourite songs on the album actually it definitely doesn't. Get Innocuous.
I was gonna say you can.
The first song.
That. Yeah.
Definitely sounds like New Order to me. And
yeah,
Blue Monday,
I hear
which
it
I really
too.
like.
I hear it too. And I love that. I love Blue Monday and New Order and all of those things.
So Get Innocuous, time to get away. It is a 4-minute song. So I mean, of course, it's
gonna feel like a 4 minute.
I like how his vocals remind me of David Byrne from Talking Heads.
Yeah, they very much do.
I think those two bands, New Order and Talking Heads in particular, I hear a lot of influence from.
Yeah, I feel like that the kind of attitude of Talking Heads is here. Like,
a little bit, because like their music was extremely like eclectic and took influence from a lot of places, but was extremely like funky and catchy.
Yes.
The same thing is true on this album.
Yeah,
definitely.
But with dance influence,
rather than like whatever
rather than
it is,
a rock
like,
sort of.
Or a new wavy post-punk kind of thing. Or they like you say it has got a punk kind of attitude to this album, so there's that as well.
But it's in the vein of dance music. That's
exactly.
You could. I mean, I don't know if you would, but you could play this at clubs, some of the things. And they're very much...
I don't know.
Like, the lyrics are kind of... The lyrics would be suiting for if you sobered up at a club and were questioning your very existence.
I know that feeling. I really know that feeling.
I don't think most people do, to be honest. Which is why it's probably not good for clubs.
No. Oh, well.
But that's the satirical part of it. Like, I mean, especially the third album, This Is Happening, is very much about... go clubbing and the whole culture of it and stuff.
Right, okay.
There's a lot of things like comparing boys and girls. It's really funny, the lyrics on it. It's like boys will do this and girls will do that. I can't remember the lyrics, but we'll get back to it, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's very funny. But this album here, Sound of Silver, I'm not sure what the themes are on it, actually. It's quite hard to pin down.
Well, if you look at North American Scum, where
this is
if I want to go back to, I actually want to go back to Talking Heads again because not so much like the like how the song sounds or how the melody changes or anything like that, but his vocal delivery again, it sounds like David Byrne, and like the lyrics kind of remind me of the song Once in a Lifetime.
Yes,
because the message, it's very slightly different because then Once in a Lifetime they were basically talking about like, you know, the illusion of like the American dream. It's like you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack. Yeah. And like on North American Scum, he's kind of he's talking about how like America is like these days. Yeah, if you know what I mean.
It's like bringing it down.
Bring it down to reality, but it's painted up as a kind of a really, really upbeat, fun. Like it's almost like a protest the way that
it is.
And the way they have the North America in the background. Yeah. It's and that bass line, like the one note bass line. Yeah,
it's funky though, even though it's one.
It is quite catchy.
Do you know another thing I just thought of? Yeah, like I feel like LCD Soundsystem they're hyper aware of their influences.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
and you know when they say. There's one of my favourite lyrics from this song, North American Scum, is when they say, you know, we're not a British band.
Yeah.
Like, people think we're from England.
Yeah.
We're not from England. I feel like that almost feels like a direct, like, thing saying we're not, like, Talking Heads. Like...
Well, even though Talking Heads were American.
Oh, they really? Shit, I didn't know
David Byrne was born in Glasgow, was he?
See, I thought that, but I didn't... I stand corrected, but, like...
The message still stands.
It's a funny line either way, because they do, for some reason, they do seem like an English sort of...
No, they do.
They seem... You know what it is? They seem in the vein of, like, Franz Ferdinand.
Yes.
That's what the confusion is, I think. So it's quite a funny, like, message to be like, we're not from England. And it does it.
That's not me.
That's not me.
I'm like, where's man? That's not me.
Yeah.
Oh, where's Sam? Where's Sam when you need him?
Yeah, the vocal delivery on that song is funny, and it's James Murphy does do this quite often. This sort of weird vocal quirky delivery.
Yeah.
On like at least one song on an album, I'd say, and it's just quite funny. I want to talk quickly about the next track, which has caused some debate. Julian's not as keen as me.
Okay.
You enjoy it?
Yeah. Someone great. I enjoy it. My complaint with it at first is that I thought the outro dragged on for a little bit, and I wanted a little bit more instrumental variation throughout it. Even though I really like
also understandable.
I like the glockenspiel that kind of goes with the vocal melody.
Yeah.
But like that, you kind of have this really like blaring kind of pulsing synths in the back. I'm kind of going woo, 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 woo. And for some reason that didn't.
I did not. Okay.
That didn't like go well. That wasn't for me for whatever reason at first.
So that's
it's all right though.
For me, it was this song. Someone Great was a grower for me. It's one of the ones.
I feel like it is a grower.
So I listened to this first album. The one that stood out is Sound of Silver straight away for me. Like
Sound of Silver, talk to me. We'll get into that later.
We'll get to that, and we'll probably do the lyrics then. But yeah, this one, Someone Great, was a grower for me because it's like it's not. There's nothing so forward driving on this song other than the synths. The synths.
No, I agree. It's the least danceable song so far.
But it's like the synths are like woo, 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 like it boom 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 boom.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, like that's a good impression. But it's like pulsating is how it is.
Yeah,
and that's what drives you forward. And like you said, the glockenspiel comes in and the lyrics are very simple.
Yeah.
They're sort of like a recollection of an event when, I don't know, you got probably a breakup phone call or something.
Yeah.
That's what I assume from it. But, like, just, like, the impact of the music surrounding that, I think is just really, really good. Like, really strong.
I mean, it's more suited to a message like that. It's not as overtly trying to be catchy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, that's why it's sort of
repetitive.
That's why it was a grower for me, I think. Because the rest of the album is a lot of it's satirical messages about, you know, for example, the dance theme, for example, like not directly with the lyrics, but like with the music itself. Whereas this one is more the subtlety of like carrying emotions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it builds up to the when someone great is gone at the end. Like again, it's repetitive, but like you feel it. It's just the one that grew. I'm feeling it. It's the one that grew for me. Yeah.
All My Friends.
I was gonna say
we're not gonna do track by track, but All My Friends is still my favourite song on the album. First song I heard.
Probably my second favourite. Probably.
It manages to pull off the din 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 din.
So it's got the running piano motif sort of thing.
It manages to drag that out for 8 minutes and still not get boring.
Seems like a 4-minute song.
It feels like krautrocky, like the way that Can songs have very steady drumming in the background, and it's and just the structure of the song just stays completely the same throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's got
like it's engrossing. Like what?
It is. It's got the kind of the standard post punk bass line in there. It's catchy as hell. I don't know for sure, but I think his vocals are a little bit higher in the mix on this song, and I feel like. Actually, now I think about it, maybe on Someone Great, I think his vocals were a little bit too quiet, and I think the synth was like overpowering a little bit. But
I feel like with Someone Great, you need a good set of headphones or earphones and like turn the volume up.
Okay.
Because then you feel the real pulsating of the sort of synths and stuff going on. Whereas with this one, it's got the sort of piano that cuts through it.
Yeah, sure.
A bit more, so you can make it out more. And his vocals do also sort of cut through it as well a bit.
Okay, but maybe I'll do that. I'm pretty sure I listened to it on speakers.
I was going to say
before, so I guess I can give it another go.
See, for me, the reason I suggested we do Sound of Silver is because I just over the last half of last semester, I just found myself coming back to it so often.
Yeah,
like just whenever I had to do some task or anything, or like I don't know, do some laundry or some boring stuff like that, pointless stuff, I'd always just put it on and it would like be addictive, and like you get into it. It's like, you know, because it's so simple and it builds, but it's addictive as well. And like you could even play it out of speakers because it does sound good, even though you don't pick up the nuances. It does sound good. So like it was just an all round like, this is something I can go to, and Sound of Silver and This Is Happening are just go tos.
Sure. I'm trying to think what my album is in
terms of that.
Yeah, like that.
I go to Boards of Canada a lot as well.
It's either Music Has the Right to Children or probably Post.
Fair.
Because it's the
I can see Post as well. I
do
sometimes go to Bjork.
Because it's so varied.
Yeah. It's like something you can just go to and dive in a little bit. It's nice. Anyway, yeah. And then, so we have Us versus Them and Watch the Tapes, which...
Sorry.
The next couple of songs.
Yeah, that's the one.
So, Us versus Them.
Us v Them. My issue with Us v Them is that it's too long. And
I kind of agree with you.
The time has come, the time has come, the time has come today.
See,
that goes on for too long. I get bored of it, honestly.
I can see that.
The instrumental with like the really kind of it's not the bass line, but it's the guitar, the kind of upstrummed, really kind of perky guitars. It sounds a lot like a Talking Heads song.
Yeah,
I feel like Talking Heads could have written it.
And the vocal.
And in a way, David Byrne could have sung it. Come the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's catchy, but a little bit mind-numbing after all.
I feel like this one's maybe the most in the vein of something like Franz Ferdinand, maybe. Maybe just because it's... I do agree with you, is repetitive for the sake of quirkiness, maybe. Where it's just this is one of the only points... Like, I give this song a hall pass completely, because it's the only song on this album full of 7-8 minute songs where you notice the time is a bit long. It's like, that's quite the achievement either way, I'd say. So, and the one following it, Watch the Tapes.
Watch the Tapes. I really didn't care for Watch the Tapes.
Song. Yeah, it's got some fun lyrics and some good moments.
My issue with it, I don't want to shit on the first half, because I think the first half of the album's really good. But Watch the Tapes almost feels like they're like taking the piss out of the first half of the album. It's just based on listening to the first half, it sounds like a song that someone would write if they were trying to take the piss out of all the kind of LCD Soundsystem stereotypes, because they've like half the length of the song, they do the standard bass line, and they do the standard drums, and like
I can see it.
Like at that point I started to get sick of the bass line being the same.
I will say taking the piss out of LCD Soundsystem is a very LCD
Soundsystem thing to do. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
They do that often. Like
I like the vocals on Watch the Tapes, actually. Vocal performance I did like.
Yeah, it's always fun, I think.
But can we get on to the song that we do really like?
The titular track.
Sound of Silver, talk to me. Makes you want to feel like a teenager until you remember the feelings of a real live emotional teenager. Then you think again. And that's it throughout the entire song.
And it is great.
But the reason I like it is because it's my favourite like instrumental on the album. Because it's really, really layered and textured.
The way it builds up.
It's got these little like dotted electronic little kind of blips. Micro beats.
Yes.
James Murphy was definitely listening to Vespertine when he made this.
It does, definitely. It is in a vein of Vespertine, actually.
The bass is like kind of takes centre stage as well.
Yeah.
Like these little electronics aren't prominent, but the bass line is it's a little bit more distorted, I think, than before.
Okay.
And it just stuck out to me as while it's like distorted and kind of unpolished or whatever, the whole instrumental felt a bit more well rounded than everything else. So I really like Sound of Silver. Good stuff. What exactly is he referring to by Sound of Silver?
Yeah, considering
you're eager to tell me, aren't you?
We've only got a few lyrics, and you know these are the core lyrics of the whole song, the 7-minute song. Julian was asking what he means by Sound of Silver.
Mike googled it, and he's refused to tell me up until now.
So what we first assumed, this is the story of what we discussed today. We first assumed it was cocaine.
Yeah.
We first assumed it was something to do with like lines of silver. He's snorting coke. Makes you want to feel like a teenager until you remember the feelings of a teenager and you think again. Turns out it's more ambiguous than that.
Oh.
So James Murphy says it has many meanings.
Okay.
Of course.
Come on.
It's more one of these things that are like a feeling. And the main thing he said was his dad often used to say something like he was always pining to get silver. Or he said something like to do with being an adult is like always getting the silver medal or something. Like you never quite get to achieve your dreams.
Okay.
I think it's something to do with that. Like Sound of Silver, like mediocrity maybe, or like
okay, sure.
This is the feeling of mediocrity.
Yeah, I see. I can
because I feel like he very much likes to be a man of the people.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
he is a man of the people. He
North American scum.
North American scum. Yeah. He is a man of the people, and this is one of these things. It's like you don't have to be the best sort of thing, but
okay, that's interesting.
That's what the message is, I think. I don't know where the teenager part comes in, because when he said teenager, want to feel like a teenager, that's just made me assume drugs.
Yeah,
and then that's why I jumped to cocaine because Sound of Silver, but I don't think it is necessarily.
Okay.
So that's that.
That's that.
And
very lastly, now that we've done this completely track by fucking track, New York, I love you, but you're bringing me down. Yeah. Another one of my favourites on the album. It's kind of like a bittersweet love song.
Yeah, it is. It's like the bittersweet end. It's a sort of change in song. It's like this is the piano. This is all of the electronic elements of like they fade, and it's down to him and his piano sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a sort of ballad a sinister ballad to New York.
It sounds like it would fit in a musical to me. I don't know why it is. Like the piano sound kind of because it's in 3/time. It sounds kind of waltzy and quite grandiose.
Yeah, it does. New York, I love you, but you're bringing me down.
And the lyrics are quite blunt as well, aren't they? So, I get the feeling that in a way the album ends kind of on a critique of life in New York.
Well, I know after LCD split up in 2011, one of his projects, James's projects, was to try and go on the New York Underground elevators, escalators even, and make them produce sound as people went past, went up. So that was one of his weird, interesting projects to like incorporate the city. So very much
the city.
Like obviously the message of this song is very much, like he appreciates living in New York, but
there's something
about the life that drags him down. Yeah. So again, it's this is the sort of a heartfelt end to a very, very fine album in my opinion.
It's eight out of 10 pretty much.
I give it a 9 just because I keep coming back to it for some reason. It's one of those things.
It might grow on me. You never know.
Yeah, it's true.
It might get worse on me. Yeah. You never know.
I somehow doubt it will get worse.
Yeah,
probably. But I doubt it will get better as well. I feel like it will be what it is.
I'm happy with how I like it right now. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Now
we can move on to
we're going to talk about a classic album here, boys.
Classic.
An album by The Microphones.
Yes.
A recording project masterminded by Phil Elverum, who's an American. Elverum. He plays a lot of instruments, he writes some songs, and damn, are they good songs.
Yes.
Right. So, in 2001, an album called The Glow Part 2 was released under this Microphones moniker.
Well, originally, actually, they had the album before that was something about getting out of the water.
It was hot. We stayed in the water.
Yes,
or something like that.
And that had a song on it called "The Glow."
The Glow.
So this is why
The Glow Part 2 is the continuation.
Yes.
So this album is really, really a mind-blowing amalgamation of different styles. There's the kind of defining characteristic of it is how lo-fi it all is.
Yes.
And how it sounds like something that someone recorded in their bedroom with minimal equipment. As far as I'm aware, that's kind of how
it was.
Phil's setup was. He basically just...
It feels like it.
He had an obsession before this with writing songs about recording equipment. And that's where the name The Microphones came from.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
So he was very much kind of like a tinkerer.
Yeah. That's the feel I get from this album is... One, the content of it is very, very personal.
Yeah,
very, very personal. And two, there's love and care into the arrangements, and this is musical arrangements, everything to do with the album. And I feel like a lot of what is arranged is not so much thought through as it is felt.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say there's a decent amount of stuff on here that we hear as kind of a finished product, but which I'm sure was probably improvised when recording.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me due to how lo-fi it all is.
It's very lo-fi.
So there's I think a lot of it is kind of is folk music.
Yes,
but there's really kind of loud, blaring, distorted noise rock stuff on it. There's some sort of dark ambient and droney interludes as well to go in there.
Bits with blown out speakers that come at you.
Blown out speakers is the number one thing that this album does best, and is why I like it so much. It's a really intriguing mix. And then you've got Phil's voice, which is extremely fragile and
it's fragile, but it's powerful as well. In that boyish way.
It contrasts very well with the music.
Yeah, it does.
There's one track in particular which I want to mention later that I especially like for that reason, but we're not doing this track by track because there are 20 tracks.
No, I know.
But
I need
the first 3. I Want Wind to Blow.
Yes.
The Glow Part 2, the title track, and The Moon I think is possibly, I know that Mike and I have discussed this before, one of my favourite 3-song stretches.
Favourite threesome.
Ever. No,
I kind of agree.
It's not my favourite threesome. That's for another
York Tom York. That's the obvious 2 options, along with yourself. But...
No, I'd take that as a 3, to be honest. It's fine.
Fair. But yeah, no, I agree. These first 3 tracks are solidly strong and perfectly placed next to each other.
There's one little guitar melody at the end of I Want Winter Blows, like ding 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 ding
yes.
ding ding.
See, I
could listen to that melody all day long.
Yeah.
And I could not get bored of it. It's so goddamn good, and it feels like warming, as if kind
like
of
rush of something into
you're
the
all
heart.
sat around a campfire.
Yeah.
And there's one guy who's got his fucking acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
And is not playing Wonderwall, is instead playing this lovely melody, which exudes warmth. And I get
the feeling that melody is the heart of the album, sort of.
It's the heart of the feeling of at least the first bit of the album. It comes
back at the end a little bit, doesn't it?
A little bit. I think that's actually one thing the album does well. It references previous parts of the album a lot of the time, which makes me think that it's kind of like a concept album, especially with like how personal the lyrics are.
Yeah.
I haven't
I can see that.
I haven't fully decided everything and decided whether or not there is one story running through.
I feel like it's not. The only reason I feel like it's not a concept album is because I feel like this is what the microphones do. So it's like not. It's not as if they were like, oh, here's our idea for this album. It's more like, here's our continued expression of us.
Yeah.
Sure. So it's like not approached as a concept album, but it may come off as one.
Yeah, it comes off as one unintentionally more than I think it was probably planned.
But either way, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. I do agree with these first 3 tracks.
The title track, The Glow Part 2.
Okay, yeah, so the way this song comes in is excellent and amazing.
Noisy.
It blows my mind.
It gave me a jump scare because you get after that lovely guitar melody end of I Want Winter Blows.
It really throws you off. It makes you like, it's like if suddenly, like, I don't know, on a roller coaster, like you get dropped and you feel like
just as you go over the dip.
Yeah, it's like a real like thrown into it, sort of punch in the gut, because it just comes out of nowhere after the lovely guitar melody.
And after the really noisy intro, you get like the first indication of how fragile and how emotive Phil's voice is. I feel like
I agree. His
voice is probably my favourite thing that kind of runs throughout the album. Like especially this one actually. It's got some of my favourite like vocal moments. Maybe not my favourite lyrics, but my favourite vocal moments.
Yeah, I mean the lyrics are
towards the second half he almost goes into Neutral Milk Hotel levels of memery with what he's singing.
But it doesn't come off as a meme.
It doesn't come off as a meme
not the Neutral
as
Milk
much
Hotel
as
do.
No, his voice isn't as
the
kind
sheer
of
power of
his voice isn't as ridiculous as Jeff Mangan's is. But the bit where he says he sings my heart beats loudly. And holds the note for a ridiculous amount of time.
The power of his voice, it scales all the way up.
And you can hear his voice peaking.
I was going to say, the
recording.
It feels like the recording's being blown out.
It can't handle his voice.
I agree. Like, his voice is needed to carry these songs, and it has an amazing weight to it.
Yeah.
And the lo-fi-ness of it all, like, it just complements it so well.
It does.
Is excellent, and like this is all the Glow Part 2, the song itself.
Yeah,
these are like the strengths of the album, and the strengths of this song in particular.
And then The Moon, the third track, I love it because Phil's voice is mostly really, really low down in the mix, and you can't really differentiate that much from the instrumental in the background, which is overwhelming.
It's
and
like these
beautiful.
first 3 tracks are like very different to each other. They're on a similar vein. It's like the first one's the nice, sort of slow,
friendly one. The Glow Part 2 is like kind of like a reality check in a way.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like it is total reality check, and the way it comes in, it cuts you off like one, and it's like full force, blown speakers and everything.
Yeah, and then
excellent.
The Moon is it ever so slightly hints at something not being quite right because his voice is very muted and not that kind of. I mean, his voice doesn't sound optimistic in any way. It sounds like there's a little bit of anxiety in it.
Yeah.
And then you get to the fourth track, Headless Horseman.
Yes.
And that's when the mood of the whole thing plummets.
Yes.
It's rather somber and quite depressive.
It does become somber, yeah.
I think a lot of the lyrics on this album are about relationships that he's had with people. Because
I feel like it is.
He talks about, on this song, he talks about someone else, like turning him into a stray dog from a mighty human man or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like my hands replaced by claws or whatever.
Yeah. It's like a sort of werewolf sort of thing. Or
yeah, it's there's a huge amount of weird kind of anthropomorphic imagery in it, and
yeah,
he's got away with words for painting the breakdown of relationships with other
certainly does.
Not socially anxious functioning members of society.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But it goes beyond the words as well, like the way he does it as well.
Yeah, I mean, Headless Horseman, it's just him with the acoustic guitar, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, but this is following the three gut punch,
big ones, yeah.
Triplet at the start. So
and then the end of Headless Horseman, there's one note that plays on an acoustic guitar, which is dum.
Yes, I was going to ask about that.
So that note is like. The whole album is carried by that one note being played every now and then, right?
Yeah,
so
they play it at the end of the songs.
Or the end of a lot of the songs, and even during the instrumental interludes, you hear just that note being played, and then it dies out, and then about 15 seconds later it gets played again. And that kind of forms the drony bass for a lot of the instrumental interludes. And I don't know what it is about that note in particular, but it's really, really quite harrowing and like sobering.
I don't know what it is. It feels like a sort of death bell sort of thing.
I was gonna say it sounds like a bell tolling.
Yeah.
And when you get towards the end of the album, that is like, kind of what you're left on, and that's.
We'll get there. But
yeah, we'll get there.
This
album just does things to me.
But I was going to ask about the sort of, like you said, bell toll guitar, because it is a recurring thing.
It's the one thing apart from Phil's. Voice is the one thing which ties the whole thing together, and I think makes it extremely cohesive. As much as
I don't know what it is, but it's
you get further into the album, and starting from the song "I'll Not Contain You," through to I think maybe another 5 or 6 tracks, you get these kind of 2 to 3 minute songs, which are all kind of about him. Him referring to himself as I, and things that he does, and things that he wants to do. Apart from the song Map, but Map is a slight outlier in that. But they're short 2 or 3 minute songs. They get played with very, very light instrumentation.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the majority of the emotional punch is on the album. Despite the first 3 tracks, the dip after those puts me in a much more kind of much more of a place where I feel it.
I'm feeling it.
It's just these few tracks carry a lot. But yeah, the song Map is really, really noisy.
I was going to say, it's very noisy.
Because you get this really weird kind of ringing, drony noise, which I love. I have no clue what it is.
No, do I.
But...
And by this point, you've probably got your speakers turned up because you're picking out the fine details of him. Like, the songs before it, well, it's the Gleam before it, but like a little bit, not too far before it, is like an instrumental followed by a song called The Mansion, which is like a sort of lost rambling song. Like
it sounds like very abstract lyrics.
Weird like rhyming couplets going on or something. Yeah. And then you get a song called Something and Something Continued. Like these sort of weird lost rambling songs.
They're kind of dark ambient stuff, and there's kind of some distorted noise that comes in the background, like it's some sort of horror film.
You get I'll Not Contain You, where you get a dip. And the Gleam comes back with a few themes from early on, like with the Glow Part 2, it's the Gleam Part 2.
Yeah.
And then the Map comes in with... Well, Map, sorry, not the Map. Map. Map comes in with like the noise rock. Catches you off guard. It's great.
It's bloody great.
But like, I was like, Jesus, that's overpowering.
It is.
Yeah.
So... You get down to, I'll Not Contain You, and then... And
then, like you said, it's a lot of the song titles are, I want to be cold, I am bored, I felt my size, I felt your shape.
Yeah.
It's very personal.
Extremely. I think the bit about, again, I'll I want to be cold. He's talking about another person saying like he doesn't want their fire to keep burning. He just wants to be cold. This is him. He's freezing out. A relationship with someone.
Yeah, pretty much.
This album is almost entirely about Phil just wanting to be alone.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, like
poor bastard.
It is. That's the weight of it, and like a lot of it's to do with like there's a lot of weight to it. It's not just.
It feels like a lonely album. The whole thing. The
very much
the acoustic guitar in his voice. It's
like the whole project is him spending time with himself. Like producing it. Hey. So it is a personal album. Hey, he just wants wind to blow him. But like you said, it is a very lonely album, and like although it's dealing with relationship issues, which some people, you can easily play that up for sort of drama in the song, if you know what I mean. And like he does the total opposite of that, and he shows you how to do it properly.
Yeah,
which is he gets the one, the sheer emotional punch, and two, like there's just so much weight and like importance to all of these events that happen to him. There's like one bad event like severely throws him out of like kilter, and like he just wants to be alone, like all of these things, like, and there's like something tragic. I think this is the sort of this is my theory on the whole album. There's something sort of tragic about him losing, I don't know, this sort of, like you said, like fire with someone else, that sort of thing. Like there's something really like weighty to him losing that. Yeah, like some sort of grand scheme of life sort of thing where once like he's lost it, it's like it's off. That's it.
That's it.
And it's like the stakes could not be higher, and he plays it out like that.
Definitely.
He literally does.
And the song which I mentioned earlier, which I really want to talk about with the noisy stuff, is the second last song, Samurai Sword.
Yes.
Which is all about him very violently ending a relationship with someone else. Yeah. It's right from the offset, kind of like almost more so than the title track. It starts with really, really noisy, hammering down on the drum kit,
the drums
and guitars and everything.
Because they're just
drums just the whole time.
Yeah, they are.
And you juxtapose that again, kind of like in the way that The Moon did, but again to a much more extreme extent. You have this crazy, noisy rock music in the background, and then you have Phil kind of going like this, singing like this. And you can barely make out what he's saying. But I looked up the lyrics to this song.
Oh yeah,
because it's an important song.
What they say?
So what the first line in the song is, "You're a bear foraging for a kill," which basically Phil's way of saying this other person doesn't see me as human anymore.
Yeah. They just want what they want from Phil.
Yeah, they're looking to end their relationship with him as well. And he says, "I've got a samurai sword meant for you, polar bear." he just wants to kill him.
Yeah. Well, I thought again, like it's the weight of lost relationships here, and like it's by this point he's like he said armed with a samurai sword.
I don't know why he chose a samurai sword.
It is a very odd thing.
Yeah.
It's quite a weird mixture. I mean, like literally that sentence. I'm with my samurai sword.
I've got a samurai sword meant for you. I'm gonna polar bear. I guess he's just referring to the bear bit in the first line again.
Yeah, I know, but like he didn't specify polar bear. It's like a very odd juxtaposition, like samurais and polar bears.
Frigid. I don't know.
Makes sense. But yeah, it's just very interesting.
It is
to read in. It's like this is one of the most personal albums I think I've listened to.
Yeah, definitely.
And it feels almost. It's not personal in the way that's like I feel like I'm intruding here because I can relate.
That's the thing. It doesn't. It's almost like
it's not like these are the events that made me sad. It's more like this is some emotional. This is like the human part of it that we.
He's not trying to get people to relate to this.
No, he's not. So
he's writing this because it's exactly what he felt, and I don't think at any point he even considered whether or not people were going to be able to. Understand everything.
Yeah, I almost feel like he could have written this just for himself.
He could have, just to keep him comfortable.
And he literally could have not released it. I felt like that could honestly have been a way this album went, just not from any knowledge of how it actually was released and when he did it, but like from the content and the feel. Like it's a very, like you said, it's a very sort of wanting to be alone by himself, sort of thing. Meditative, maybe, but more less that, more, I don't know.
It's too depressive to be meditative, I think. Yeah, it is. The last song, My Warm Blood.
Yeah, this is a sort of.
This is where it brings the concept album feel for me, because
I've got a lot to say about this last track.
You know, he plays the 2.5 minutes at the start, which is actual like new material, but then for the last 6 minutes or so,
yes,
you get the same bell tolling kind of guitar drone in the background.
Yeah.
For the entirety of the 6 minutes, but underneath it, I don't know if you've listened to it really closely, but you can hear tiny, really, really quiet snippets of the previous tracks.
Yeah, I was going to say I heard that. Like,
you get a similar thing at the end of Samurai Sword, actually, in the last minute or so of Samurai Sword.
This is what I was going to say about the end of the album. Like, you know, you said earlier on the very first track, you have the beautiful guitar that you could just, like, you could live in it.
But, yeah.
You could live in the guitar, like, melody there. And, like, that comes back here. But it's faded out so far into the back of the mixing that it's almost like non-existent anymore. And I feel like My Warm Blood sort of comes back to the like core sound. Like, I don't know, maybe it's what it's like.
I feel like it might be alluding to, you know, in a way alluding to a death. Like that's how the last 6 minutes feel. It sounds like the last moments and exactly.
It feels reluctant to come back to what it previously was. Like it fades out basically, and you know what the like core of the album is because you've listened to it at that point, and it doesn't tease it even. It's just there, like these elements from before, and they just don't come back. Like that's the end of the album. It's like that's where he is in this state. It's like it's just like it's beyond even like, oh, I've lost it, I'm never gonna like get back this fire or whatever. It's just like straight up. It's beyond that point. It's not. I don't know.
The slight interesting thing about this is in the last 20 seconds of the song.
I'm rambling, but
you get a heartbeat noise.
Yes, you do.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. For the last 20 seconds, and then it's gone.
That's the album. After the heartbeat.
And that's it. It ends with a heartbeat, which I don't know if that's a symbol of optimism or whether
think it is.
That's a symbol of someone's last heartbeats.
I'm not sure if it's a lot.
I feel like if it was, he would put it before all the droney bell tolling guitar thing.
The impression I get is it's like a cruel sort of thing where all the emotional stuff that's happened before has gone on and he's still alive. Like, it's almost like the weight of everything before justifies how bad it is that, you know, for example, his heart is still beating, he feels. It's that sort of, like, thing. Because, like, he alludes to death early on in one of the first few tracks.
Yeah. I mean,
like, in the second track even, he very much says about, he goes towards death with his arms swinging.
With both arms swinging,
Both arms swinging, things like that. And then, like, now he's alive.
It's almost like he's just survived the storm, the emotional.
Yeah, it's like my warm blood. Like his blood is warm.
It's still warm.
Alive, but it's not.
Still alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Still alive.
This is my thesis for the album. I'm gonna write a paper. But, yeah.
Someone wrote a thesis on death grips. Actually, I posted it on the subreddit.
What did they write it on?
I haven't read the whole thing.
I saw a couple of pages.
My thesis, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I'd read it, but
I will read it.
One of the few.
Anyway, I think we've done this album a decent amount of justice.
I think so.
Go listen to it. The Glow Part 2.
Get some good earphones and lie in your bed and listen to it though.
And cry, probably.
Probably cry. Even though you don't necessarily know what he's talking.
No. And then if you're sad and you need cheering up, go watch the video of Bjork talking about a TV.
Yeah.
Because that will no doubt cheer you up.
That will cheer you up to no end. That's infinite cheer. That's an infinite well of happiness.
Infinite well of happiness. The eternal spacious space of happiness.
The eternal spring of infinite happiness.
The fountain of happiness.
Fountain of youth, which Bjork has discovered. Yep, I think we're a good amount of justice. Sam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Daddy.
Alright, cheers for that, Sam.
Thanks. Well, I'm glad he was here.
Me too. So, next week, I'm going to say this for Sam, but we're going to be talking about something that Sam really wants to talk about.
Yep.
Run the Jewels 3.
Run the Jewels 3. Run the Jewels 3.
It's Run the Jewels 3. How can you not be hyped for it? It's the third Run the Jewels album.
Yep. the album that failed to make our 2016 top list because it released so late.
It released on Christmas Day. It was a great Christmas present. I really loved it.
Yeah, it was a good. We'll talk about that.
It's technically only getting a physical release in a couple of days' time.
You're right. We're still in time.
Or yesterday, rather, because...
wink, wink.
Yeah. But, yeah, it still counts as a 2016 album because that digital release. And then, for our classic...
Oh, boy!
This is it!
It's it. Like, finally, we've talked about Tree Fingers Effect long enough. It's time to finally do the episode where we talk about Kid A. Radiohead's
your
album.
bum buddies.
Yep, my bum buddies. They're
Tom Cullen, Johnny
the story continues from OK Computer, where we last left off.
Where we slowly see...
And oh boy, a change has happened.
Where we slowly see Ed and Phil get frozen out of any kind of instrument playing duties.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why would Tim even do that? What a guy.
It was a hell of a move.
It was.
It was ballsy, maybe. We'll see.
I think
we'll discuss.
So... got that to look forward to next week, and hopefully by then Sam might be here.
I hope not.
We never know.
But he may just be there on my bed making it soggy
as usual.
And he likes Kid A now as well, so it will all be soggy.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to me obviously because I was pestering him for years. But yeah, that'll be next week.
We'll see you on the other side, people.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao. Goodbye.
Why the fuck did you have to do the ciao thing?
Goodbye.
That's his
Show me what you got.
That's his job.
That's why I did it.
Yeah, okay.